Are you ready for the greatest day in racing?
You mean the Wienie 500?
No, oh my God! I wanted to start with that. That is the only race that matters.
All right, we're getting right into it. Welcome back to Backmarkers. We've got our Monaco Pontiac Grand Preview for the weekend. This is the greatest weekend in motorsports, and the crown jewel is the Wienie 500. Go take it away.
Wienermobiles. I'm so excited. Like, I had no idea this existed until probably Tuesday, and I've been on level 10 hype ever since I found out that this is going to be a thing. So let's fucking go.
Hell yes. Yes, you sent me the video, and I also had no idea about it either. So I immediately pulled up, like, how do you watch this? What actually is happening? I still don't fully understand how long they're actually racing, but they have 6 wieners out on track.
All six.
All
six of the Wienermobiles that exist.
Right there, yes. And they're representing a different region of dog. Would you like to guess the dogs that are being represented?
Oh my God, you have trivia prepared about the Wienermobiles? Let's fucking go.
Oh, first of all, in this, sorry, it said it's the first time all 6 Wienermobiles will meet up, MEAT, in over a decade, and the first for a competitive race for the fleet.
This is glorious. I love this so much. Have you ever seen a Wienermobile in the wild?
Not in the wild. I've only ever seen the one at the Henry Ford.
They have one there?
Yeah, they have one in the museum there.
I guess I didn't realize that. I guess I've probably also seen it as well, but it's been a while. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, 6 regions. What are the dogs being represented?
I feel like the layup is the Coney dog, ?
No, not on the list. A variation of the Coney dog, if you want to be a little less specific on it.
Chili, like the chili dog.
Yes, chili dog.
Okay, all right.
Or that's one of them. That's representing the South.
I don't counts. Know why, but let's move my cat out of the way.
So you got the chili dog. You got 5 more to go. I've only ever heard of one other of these types of hot dogs.
Okay. This is a lot of pressure. I feel like I would say I'm a hot dog enthusiast. But I don't know that I'm necessarily that much of a connoisseur. Is one of them with mac and cheese? Because, like, have you ever had a hot dog with mac and cheese on it?
That sounds disgusting, and no.
No, it's glorious. It's one of the greatest. Are you about to say I don't like?
And I don't like hot dogs. So that's a terrible combination for you, boy, right here. Oh, he just straight up left. Well, might be a solo show here today, folks. Let's see if he decides to return. He's back. Okay, he's back. That stays, by the way.
I hope we kept that beginning part because it was pretty good. But what the fuck?
Yep.
I kind of I don't really understand the hot dogs, but I kind of understand. How the fuck do you not like mac and cheese?
I'm not a big noodly pasta person, so it's macaroni noodles, which not big for me. And then 2, I'm really not a big cheese person at all. I'm not like a huge dairy fan outside of ice cream overall. Yeah, so like when like a meal is predominantly like a gooey cheesy thing like mac and cheese, it doesn't really do much for me. I've gotten better over the years. I used to just straight up not eat cheese except for pizza when I was a child.
You're still a child. Actually, no, you're not a child because you don't like mac and cheese. Like I'm just stunned and amazed.
You're right. I've been a grown-ass adult my whole life.
Yeah, you fucking were born wearing a suit and tie and asking about stock prices. You set up a 401k at 2 years old.
Got to make that bag, man. Retire by 40. That's the goal. Is so. Anyways, you got the chili dog.
The chili dog.
A local city to the Midwest. What's a version of their hot dog? Chicago dog.
Hot dog. Okay.
There you go. Right. So you got 4 more to go.
Are these going to be dressed up Wienermobiles? How are they conveying the regions that they represent?
The video that I saw, I think it just like says the name on it. I don't believe they're dressed up, but I really hope there's some sort of like a fancy.
If there's not a
giant
or something pickle right next to the wiener, I'm out.
Yeah.
I feel like a lobster roll wouldn't count. That's just on a hot dog bun.
Right.
Okay.
2 more hot dogs are or 3, sorry. 3 are cities, I guess, in a sense. And then the 4th one is a different food group type of hot dog.
Vegan?
No.
Okay.
That'd be hilarious though.
Does like vegetarian count?
No. No. This Oscar Mayer we're talking about. This is
meat. It's got to be meat. So a variation of a dog. Did they make like sausage? Like it couldn't be like a brat, could it?
No, you're going the wrong way with it. So like the chili dog, it's like a different type of food hot dog.
Oh, different type of food on a hot dog.
Yes.
All right. I don't think I'm going to get any of these, to be honest with you.
So I'd be shocked. So should we just rip through them real quick?
Let's rip through it. This is incredible podcasting and bad podcasting all at the same time.
So your remaining 4 dogs in representing the East is the New York dog.
Fuck is that?
No idea. I didn't go that far into my wiener searching. Your next dog coming out of the Northwest is the Seattle dog. Out of the Southeast, you've got the Slaw dog. And then your final dog coming out of the Southwest is the Sonoran dog. And those are your dogs.
I could have just named off like a couple of cities and that would have covered. That's bullshit. I'm still excited.
Regardless, yes. That doesn't take away from the excitement.
Now. Yeah. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Wow. All right. So, well, we've covered the most important thing.
We have Wieners racing on Friday. Today, as the podcast is being released, for the Wiener 500. Now, I would highly doubt they're doing a full 500 miles. The article I read through didn't really have a full explanation for me as to like how long the race was going to be. Just that there is a competition.
It better be going full tilt. If it's like half-assed, I don't know. I feel like this has the potential for incredible disappointment, but it's also like I cannot wait to see this.
Oh yeah, it's going to be amazing. Where did it say you can watch? You can watch live on, I know, the Fox Sports app, because Fox has IndyCar coverage now. Here it is. The race will be streamed live on Friday, May 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports app and across IndyCar on Fox social accounts. And fans can catch highlights of the race during Sunday's Indy 500 pre-race show on Fox as well. So it's going to be epic.
To say the least.
I mean, again, I'm not a hot dog guy. I'm going to just pull for the Midwest. I really want the Chicago dog to come through and get that win for us. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. It's the spectacle of it. Since I personally will not be represented by like my favorite hot dog in the world, it'll be what it'll be. And honestly, Oscar Mayer, not even the best hot dog brand, is someone who is more of a hot dog enthusiast than you. It's ballpark all the way.
You're a ballpark guy. Okay. I can appreciate that at least.
Yeah. Best. There's no second best. Yeah. I don't know. I feel the potential for immense disappointment, but I'm excited nonetheless.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. That is the fun to look forward to this weekend. But in reality, we do have a full lineup of full-on motorsport, action-packed racing to go. And you're here for the
madness.
You're here for the Monaco review. So what do you say we get into it with some of the storylines approaching us here?
Preview, baby.
Pontiac Grand Prix for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's
I
it's the Super Bowl of F1.
Is it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Okay. It's the biggest. It's the most historic. It's the most
Yeah,
famous. But
it's the one
I
that the most like casual fans are going to tune in for if they're going to tune in for one.
all right. That's a fair representation of it.
Granted, it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States, so that makes it tough for fans to want to tune into it because Sunday morning, you're outside maybe barbecuing all day. Maybe you went up north, maybe you're on a lake somewhere. Like maybe you needed to sleep in a little bit before you tune in at 9 a.m. for this thing. But at the end of the day, it is still Monaco. It's the crown jewel as everybody refers to it as. So yeah, you're gonna get the most eyes on this one, I think, out of any of the races, no matter what.
Yeah, and I was actually going over that with a friend. I don't know how exciting the race is going to be necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a historic track in a very tiny principality on very narrow streets, and some very big cars are going to be running through there at very high speeds.
Yes.
I I think the race is really going to more be won on Saturday. With qualifying and track position is going to be probably the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you've heard about this.
I think you're getting to where I was going to go to.
The pit stops.
The new pit stop rule, yes.
Kind of. I don't know how I feel about it. How do you feel about it, Derek?
I'm excited because I do think it's going to actually make the race day more exciting. So, yes, historically, this race has been won on Saturday, where qualify, get your positioning, get P1, and
Before somebody crashes in Q3.
yes, before someone crashes in Q3, correct. That is a make sure it's not your
Important
teammate.
Clarification there. Or maybe it is your teammate. I don't know.
Right, depending on the situation, maybe you need them too. But yes, it was always qualify. Make sure you're P1. Don't fuck up your pit stop. Sorry. Um, and then, don't run into the wall, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Right. Freaking Ricardo won the race down what a whole ass, not a gear. He was down a cylinder, and he nursed tires all the way to the end too. So
that was still a very impressive performance out of him.
Oh,
that was
super impressive.
Heroic. We
Yes.
got to admit the fact that he kept the cars behind for as long as he did.
Yes. Oh yeah, no.
Pretty impressive.
Magnificent driving job by Ricardo for that win with everything that he had against him. However, any other track, that's not going to happen. You're getting past.
Yeah.
But he still had to hold him back and make sure that he made his car wide enough and wasn't allowing anybody to get around him. So, yes, kudos to him. But I think the pit stop rule is going to be exciting for that reason of, hey, now you have to roll the dice twice. You really have to get your strategy down. There should be more chaos involved in that. Yeah, don't fuck it up. Like, potentially it could happen. Maybe there's going to be a crash still. You still got a lot of rookies out there, and you can get a cheap pit stop, and then you still only have one to worry about, maybe. Maybe there's two crashes. You never know. Anything can happen here.
If there are two crashes, do we even finish the race?
Oh, because it's the time limit?
Yeah, it might be a time limit situation.
I don't know. But I am very much looking forward to this pit stop rule, and I personally believe that's going to make the race more exciting on Sunday.
I agree with you. I still think it's a little bit artificial. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Instead of having a pit stop rule about how many times you need to stop, maybe say, okay, you need to use all three compounds, right? That's a little bit more of a variation, gives you a little bit more of a sense of strategy, because, if somebody goes out there, they go medium, soft, or something like that, or whatever the optimal tire strategy ends up being, maybe everybody's going to go that way. Mm-hmm. If you have that third tire, we got three tires for a reason. Fuck it, you got to use them. Who knows how things are going to shake out or shape up. Mm-hmm. Is this the way to make Monaco more exciting, do you think, to mandate pit stops?
Well, I think the other option that has been thrown out there is making a spec car just for Monaco, where they're smaller. Yeah. But if you have the cost cap rule in place, which they do have now, what is there just like an exception for that? Because I don't think you can
Yes.
mandate that cars would or teams would be
So
forced to still compete under that and
I
have to make a whole separate car just for a one-off race.
so I think that that's something that we had talked about in the past. I've had this idea for a very long time, Derek. I'm glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that the way to do it is to have a Monaco spec car that is not subject to the current rules and regulations. It's the historic Grand Prix. Let's give us size requirements. Let's give us displacement requirements for the motor. And let's give the teams free reign. Let Ferrari bring back a V12 or a V10 or something crazy.
Oh, you want to? Ooh, interesting.
I want to go all the way because the Grand Prix has been put on by the Historic Automobile Club of Monaco. And they have, and I think I sent you the video of the 1950s car
Yes.
going around Monaco. I encourage everyone to look up the video of the Maserati 250F, which is the most beautiful sounding car.
Yeah, that one was nice.
Glorious. But there's an onboard video of somebody running it around Monaco, and just it's fucking awesome. I think that if there was a car that is updated or changed every 10 years, or you make a change to it every however many seasons, I think that's the way to do it, and to run it as more of a spectacle than a race that counts for full points or something like that.
You want to make it like an
just
all-star weekend?
That would make a halfway decent bit of sense. I don't know if we call it necessarily an all-star weekend, but let's say that there is just kind of a caveat to the rules, and you run it as something different because it is something different. That might make it a little bit more spectacular, a little bit more special.
Interesting. Okay.
And the cars don't have to go so fast. You know what I mean? Whatever creates the best racing. And like, obviously we love the sport.
Don't have to go so fast. What are we
I know.
about
That
here?
was blasphemous what I just said. I apologize. I did not mean to insult the racing gods.
If I thought quicker, I would have left, but I also think it would have ended this recording. So then that would have really defeated the purpose.
Yeah, that would have been problematic. No, I think that having like a slower car for Monaco would be beneficial because it would be more exciting racing. You focus more on the spectacle. You focus more on the sound. Still fast, right? But if you have something that, because I think the big problem is the survival cell and all of the safety specifications that we don't want to get rid of. Safety is the most important thing. Safety is it doesn't matter how fast the cars go. It doesn't matter who wins as long as
we don't need them putting a car out there where those drivers initially were like, hey, you know what? I'm going to choose not to wear my seatbelt because it'd be safer if I just got launched from the car rather than being
exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out to the history. But yeah, I think that would be the way that I would do it, and nobody listens to me, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that would be a fun way to do it. Realistically, I don't think that's possible because there is just so much they put into these cars just for, kick Sauber to put out the piece of shit they have this year. You want them to make another one on top of it, what are they going to get out of that?
It wouldn't be a yearly thing, and it wouldn't go against the cost cap. Maybe you have 1% of your budget that is devoted just to the Monaco spec car, and you have that evolve over the course of so many years, where it's not so much about how the car itself performs. It's not about so much how the driver performs. It's who can get the most out of it that weekend, and put it a little bit more on an equal footing, not necessarily saying, hey, let's all go run out and spec cars, but do something that is more competitive just for funsies.
Maybe what they could do is they could take a page out of an IndyCar book, and F1 can just go, hey, we're providing the chassis for this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the engine you need to put in it. Do what you will with that. But here's everybody gets the same chassis just for this one race. You do the rest of it. Add whatever bells and whistles and all the extra fun shit you want to do to the car. But here's the base. Everybody does the same. There's a big chunk of your whatever you got to do out of that. And maybe we can go from there. However, I mean, for next year and going forward for a little while, like the 2026 cars are smaller than what we have currently. So maybe that, yeah, just a little bit, but maybe it's enough. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. We'll see how the regulations and everything shake out. Obviously, like we talked at another earlier program, um, maybe those regulations won't be around for so long. But we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know how it's going to be, and it'll be exciting to see whatever happens
Yeah.
in whatever direction they decide to go in. But I think for now, my way to fix Monaco is an absolute pipe dream. So.
Yeah, yes, it is. It would be fun, but it's a little bit of a pipe dream for sure. So with that, I think making a second pit stop mandatory is a good option, and maybe that changes like the rules going forward in F1 too. Maybe they do a thing where they're like, you do have to use all three compounds during a race. You know, it's not the first time they haven't changed something like that before in the history of the sport.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's got to
we're
keep evolving.
Definitely, 100%. It's the formula, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea of things changing and the idea of things evolving is definitely good. I think that changes need to be made to the racing in some way, right, to get everything a little bit more competitive. Why are the tires only good for so long? Like why are we focusing? Why are we relying on tires and Pirelli to just make things exciting when we could have, okay, let's give it your best compound. Let's say it needs to be, you know, a certain amount of drop off after so many laps for whatever tire that you're using.
What if teams got to choose the compounds they wanted?
So that doesn't work logistically because Pirelli brings X many tires to the race. And they need to have that planned so far in advance to be able to produce those and bring those in. That's a great question, though.
Well, what if they had to like choose ahead of the season? Like, hey, these are the compound types. You got to run with them in testing or whatever. Like, choose when you want to use what certain compounds for your races.
The trouble is getting them to the track in terms of logistics that way, but also in terms of car evolution. As things change, you don't know what's going to be better, what's going to be best, whatever the case may be. But I think the solution could be to just have the best tires out there and mandate pit stops like we were talking about, rather than have variation in tires and variation in tire strategy that way. Just say, okay, you need to stop. Let's bring back refueling. Since we might since next year we're supposed to go to more sustainable fuels, why don't we put more of an emphasis on that? And we go from having 2.5-second pit stops to maybe a 10-second pit stop being quick. So at the end of the day, it really, I don't know what the answer is. I don't think anybody necessarily knows what the answer is. But that's why we love the sport.
It is indeed. It is indeed. But will be exciting. Second pit stops, 4-second pit stops at Monaco when really all you needed was a one-stopper and get on some hards and run those bad boys until the end of the race.
Gotta love getting some hards on.
Yeah, gotta love getting the hard on. Yep, for sure.
That's not what I said.
I know it isn't. I ad-libbed a little bit. But we do have the 3 softest compounds again for this race. So that should be fun to see that new soft, extra soft tire out there again. So hopefully we get some fun excitement. The chaos, though, I do think will also really show the strength of like team strategy.
Yeah.
From the weekend. Ferrari is fucked. That's mainly where I was trying to go with it for this one. But I think it's really going to put into perspective, like, what's McLaren actually going to do? Like, you can't just go well, whoever's leading now or what, like you got to plan for this shit and you have to have that plan ahead of time. This papaya rules bullshit's got to go out the window. Like you got to have a plan set forth. And I don't know if it's going to work for him. So, and I'm giving a little bit of a hint to my prediction for a race winner here, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be someone in orange this weekend.
What a bold and controversial statement, Derek.
Well, I don't know if you saw earlier, but I am 2-12 on my picks so far this season, so it might not be a great one.
Hey, man, it's only up from here.
Well, could go a lot worse too. I could still just go over.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to get in predictions? Because I think we've
Not
talked
yet.
about the bulk of what the preview is going to be. What do you think?
I have some more for you. So,
okay, hit me with it. Sorry.
Yeah. So one other story that I did see, then we'll get into some stats and history for you about Monaco because it is Monaco. We should talk a little bit about just the grandness of what the race is overall. But before that, James Vowles, prior to the race here, has said that he thinks that Wiliams has huge potential here at Monaco. So he's definitely liking what he's seeing, and could be a race where if one of those top teams loses some cars or doesn't qualify well or something like that, he thinks that they have a chance at some higher points positions. It sounded like they were pretty upset with a 5th and 8th in the last race here at Emilia-Romagna. So I mean, maybe they're not fully giving up on the season just yet. Maybe they think there's still a couple more chances. Maybe a podium could be in play for them this season even, which would be epic.
Are you predicting what I think you're predicting?
No, I don't think that's going to happen this weekend. It'd be sweet. It would be cool to see, but I don't think Wiliams will get that. James did mention that, something would have to go their way. It's not like they have the pace that can keep up with McLaren or Max or Mercedes on their good day or Ferrari on their good day. They would need a little bit of help, but he thinks it's in the cards for him, which that's awesome to see. That's great to see Wiliams back in the mix a little bit.
Definitely, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility. This will be very reliant on chaos and like we talked about, reliant on who gets pole Saturday. So we'll just have to see what shakes out. But yeah, I hope Wiliams does well. I think the sport is better when Wiliams is doing well. But we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. That we will. All right. Would you like to get into some stats and history about the Monaco Grand Prix?
Hit me with it.
When was the first Monaco Grand Prix? I'm going to give you a little bit of trivia here too. 1950.
50. Ah, fuck.
You're very close. It was one of the 7 races on the inaugural F1 World Championship calendar. So truly has been around from the beginnings. So always have been here. What's that?
Do you know who won it?
Not a clue. Didn't look that one up. Oh, really?
Pretty sure it's Fangio.
Just look it up real quick.
Pretty sure it's Fangio.
Monaco 1950 winner. Yes, you are correct. Fangio.
There we go.
There we go. See, you hadn't answered another question that I didn't even have.
That's the problem. You rocked it. I had the answer right. You just asked the wrong question.
Well, he might have won in 51 too. I don't know.
He probably did. He was that good.
We'll have to do a deep dive on some of those early years of F1 because I don't know a lot about that, if I'm being quite honest.
You read my mind.
Yes.
There we go.
So Lewis is your lap record holder here in 2021. He did a 112.9. So that was back with the Mercedes days, grand old days of them. Who has the most poles in Monaco?
Schumacher?
Senna. He's got 5. Oh. Who has the most wins at Monaco?
I'm going to guess Schumacher again.
Senna. He has 6.
Fuck!
0 for 2 there, and it was the same.
All right.
So just going back to like a previous conversation we had, so like when you think of F1, like personally, I think of the Senna, Marlboro, McLaren. Like that's what I think of. And with that, I think of his onboard camera in the McLaren.
One race.
Whipping around in Monaco. Like, that just is perfectly what this sport means to me, honestly. I'm like, this is insane being able to do that. Well, first of all, do that and shifting the whole time during that race of all things.
Crazy.
That's nuts. That's some incredible talent and skill. So, all right, in 2024, how many overtakes do you think there were?
Not very many.
Never is a lot here.
Are we
It's,
going a straight number? Or are we going less than? Or what are we giving me here?
I'll give you a little bit of I'll give you a max it could be, but I'd like a specific number out of you. It's less than 25. So how many do you think there were last year?
Part of me part of me wants to say 4.
Okay.
The other part of me wants to say 15. So I'm
Okay.
going to put in those two guesses, and I'm going to be
15
wrong on
is
both.
closer, but it was 17 overall.
Okay, all right.
17
I'll take
last
it.
year. So, yeah, definitely not a lot, but with the tires and the multiple pit stops, maybe we get a little bit more action this year,
Do those overtakes count overtakes because of pit stops, or is that
That
automatic action?
I would doubt, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
regardless, it would still put people out and,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's coming out and this one's here. Then, you get a little bit of that action coming out of the pits. Maybe there's a little bit more there, That's what I'm
Could
thinking.
get
Not.
could get spicy. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. So for this year, we have a 43% chance for a safety car, 29% for a virtual safety car. So I don't know why I assumed that number would be a little bit higher. Again, I'm thinking about mixed big crash here in the past. I mean, Checo last year with Magnussen and Hulkenberg taking out both cars. I mean, when you get a crash, you get a spectacular one here. There's just no avoiding it for the most part. So, all right. So for the last 5 seasons, your pole sitters in most recent to farthest out, you went Leclerc, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton are your last 5 pole sitters. And then your last 5 winners, Leclerc finally breaks the curse last year. Then you had Verstappen,
Finally.
Checo, Verstappen, and then Lewis. So a Red Bull sandwich, if you will, between a Ferrari and a Mercedes from the last 5. But um, I mean, it's like Leclerc was born and raised there or something like that with the way he's
Yeah,
qualified.
really. Was there a trivia question in there? Or...
No, I just want to share.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I had missed something there. I was like, wait, how am I gonna lose this quiz?
No,
All
no,
right.
that was really it. I mean, I mean, Leclerc's at it, I think you could have guessed that though that he's been pretty dominant in terms of Saturday qualifying here the last few years. But then, of course, it was the curse of Leclerc at Monaco at the same time. So
The one that gets me the most is when they didn't rebuild his transmission and he found out on the way, like the formation lap. Like that was absolutely fucking devastating. Uh God, I'm sorry. I can't continue this program because I am too sad.
yes. Oh, have they released what their car is going to look like?
I don't think so, but Leclerc's helmet looked amazing.
Well, you saw
You
they
see
had
that?
the powder blue stuff, right?
Yeah, or was it blue or was it white? I feel like it's a little bit more white.
It was like white with like the blue streakiness in it too.
I don't know.
Maybe that
I
wasn't
don't
for
think so.
Monaco.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, they're just wearing a different suit. Yeah, because they have the normal car, but they just have the different track suits. Okay, well, that's not nearly as fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the special livery is a little overdone. You know what I mean? We've talked about it in previous podcasts, and I hope I'm saying the same thing as I did in
Hmm.
the previous episode. If I didn't, yes, I did, but also send us an email, backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com. Hey,
Sure.
Derek, you want to hear a fun fact?
I love fun facts. Hit me with it.
We have not received a single email to the podcast email.
You're
So be
kidding
the
me.
first. No, I'm not kidding. I wish I was. Be the first listener.
We'll give you a
Win a
shout out.
prize. Maybe, I don't know. If you send us a good email, maybe we'll read it. If not, maybe we'll read it and make fun of it. Who knows? We won't know until you send us one. So
Yes.
again, that is backmarkersf1pod@gmail.com.
There you go. There's the good plug for the email there. So
Which we need to get better at, and then hopefully somebody will send us a fucking email. I don't know. It's not gone well for us so far.
not yet. You are correct. But
Yeah.
hey, we're just laying the groundwork. We're in the trenches. We're building it out. We're like the Lions when Dan Campbell came in. It's like, hey, we're building something here. We're not there yet, but just you watch. It's gonna take off. Just you mark my words. Mock
Let me
me.
know when we get to the kneecap biting.
Shit, that already started, son.
Oh my God.
All right. But yeah,
That's
let's get into our predictions and for the teams here going forward. So I'd say let's go down constructor order in terms of the standings, and then we can go from there. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Sound good? All right. So at the top, the running storyline so far, the McLaren battle, Piastri and Norris. What do you think expectations are for them coming up here?
I think the expectation that they have is victory. I don't think I think that if they're serious about a championship fight, and obviously we talked about last week how the constructors is kind of theirs to lose, it seems.
Yeah, that's not even close right now. They've got 150 point or 30 point advantage over Mercedes at the moment.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah. I think that the question is going to be more which driver has it. Like we've kind of said, Oscar versus Lando, we've kind of picked our sides there, and I think that Oscar has that killer mentality of being able to go in and day out and think he's the best one in the car. Yeah, I don't know if we can even predict this race because so much of it is going to come down to how qualifying shakes out. And I don't know because this is a lower speed circuit. I don't know who's necessarily going to have the best car in the scenario. Are we doing race predictions or pick
Not
win
yet. We're just
predictions,
going
or
to
what are we
talk.
doing?
We'll talk about just the teams generally, what we think expectations are, and what we think they should be going for here, and then we'll do our official picks at the end.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. Yeah, I think I think their expectation and what they should be aiming for is a win, but I also think that everybody in the grid should be aiming for a win.
But yeah, realistically, it's McLaren's the only one I think who has that full expectation of we should be going out there for the win every single weekend. Like, definitely your Mercedes, your Red Bull, and your Ferrari are like, hey, we should be competing for a win. But I don't think they have the thought that both of their drivers should be winning this race at the end of each weekend at the moment.
Yeah.
And McLaren definitely should have that mentality and does have that mentality. But we kind of mentioned it already too with the pit stops going on here. Really gonna need to have that strategy buttoned up, and they're just gonna need. I think they just need to pick it ahead of time.
Do they have that strategy buttoned up though? That's the question.
I don't. I would say history would say they have an idea, but it's probably not that great.
I have an idea of a strategy. That's encouraging.
Right. I feel like your best strategic thinkers on the grid really are Red Bull, Mercedes, and I think Williams has been pretty solid on their strategy with Vowles now at the helm.
I was going to leave this fucking chat if you said Ferrari.
Oh God, no, not even a little bit. But yeah, outside of those three, I mean, Ferrari definitely. Well, McLaren's not nearly as bad as Ferrari, or they haven't been this season. They just have the car that masks some more of those things. But I mean, yeah, McLaren should be going for the win. I don't think they're going to do it though this week, and I think that something's going to happen. Either they get out qualified by a miraculous run on Saturday, or somehow, some way they'll have a slow pit stop, or they'll do something that just kind of like gets in their own way a slight little bit that leaves enough of a gap open for someone else to come in.
I hate that I think we have the same weekend win prediction.
We shall see. Let's go ahead and move on to Mercedes here. Russell Antonelli pairing. Kimi's first race at Monaco with the big team, and George obviously is a little bit of a seasoned vet now. How do you think they're going to do?
Probably be right in the mix, but not able to necessarily bring it home. I don't know. I like I said, man, I think too much of this is dependent on too many. There are too many variables to make a decent, solid. I'd put money on that prediction. Just because this is kind of so different from all of the other races. We could see something crazy. I would love to see them do. I would love to see Antonelli get his first win because we've talked about him being possibly an alien. Just don't know.
Yeah. I think, I mean, excuse me, top 6 for both of them shouldn't be out of the question for sure.
Yeah.
George he might just have another one of those quiet podiums.
Yeah.
Mercedes is really not they haven't done anything super flashy this season. They've just been there, and because of it, that's why they're in second right now in the standings. George has been consistent. Kimi, for being a rookie, has been relatively consistent. Yes, he's been out of the points a couple of times just from some rookie things and the engine not working for him last weekend. But they're in that spot where, them coming home in a quiet second place this year, I don't know, it's not that shocking.
Yeah. No, and it would
Red
be
Bull doesn't have a second driver who can compete, and Ferrari, well, they should be in that second place fight, but right now they're in fourth because they can't figure their shit out again.
Yeah. And we can only hope that they pull it together. I'm moving on to Ferrari. I think that they are getting there, and hopefully that's not just me being delusional. But
last week was a good step.
Yeah, hearing Lewis's reaction, hearing how they played out the strategy pretty well. It's a step in the right direction, but that was me getting my hopes up, and I don't like that.
Well, I mean, it is Leclerc's home race, and as we've heard from the previous 5 outings, he definitely qualifies well here. It's not like Ferrari had the best car the last 5 years, but they've still been able to put it in positions to be in winning positions still throughout those seasons, even within that Red Bull dominance.
Was their car the last couple years how did their car the last couple of years compare to this one is the question that I'd be asking.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think either of us know that answer.
Yeah, I think I don't know how much their car has changed versus the competition has just kind of risen around them among the top teams. Like McLaren has taken that bigger step to be the clear dominant number 1 team on the track at the moment, but Mercedes seems to be right there with Ferrari. Max is always going to be right there. So you have 4 teams there where realistically it's been kind of a 2-horse race the last 3, maybe 4 seasons after Red Bull. So I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, moving on to Red Bull though. Yuki P10 making it to Q3. Yeah.
I hope that he has a better result. I would love to see him get into the top 7, top 6. I don't know. I don't know if this Red Bull is going to be that good, or that. That's not what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was I don't know if the Red Bull is going to be in its window where it's a decent enough car for him to get that kind of result. I think Max is always going to overdrive the car and get the best result possible out of the vehicle. I don't know necessarily how Yuki's going to handle it or what he's necessarily going to do. But I would love to see him start to make more progress. You know what I mean? Because I think he is a really good driver. I think he does have the experience to be able to get into a position to get the most out of that car. It's just a question of how long it takes him to get it figured out, so to speak.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to say P10 for Yuki this weekend. I'm just going to stick with it. He's just going to get there. I think, I don't know. It's just, he hasn't shown much different from that. Yes, he had the good race last week coming from, started on pits or
20th?
yeah,
Nope, started pit
20th.
road.
Right. Started
Pit
pit
road.
road, gets up to 10th place. So, like, he definitely had a good drive there. This hard track to overtake on, though. So,
Yeah.
and his qualifying efforts hasn't really gotten him above maybe 8th on the grid.
I'm gonna say he's gonna get 8th or better. That's
Okay.
gonna be my. Can we knock that down as a prediction that Yuki's?
Do you want to do that as a little bonus pick?
I think that's a bonus pick.
Okay.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good about my boy.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, I'll add it for you. Ben's bonus pick. Yuki to qualify P8 or better.
Oh no, result P8 or better.
Oh, to finish top.
Yeah, top 8. Well into the points.
Top 8. Okay, cool. I like it. Alrighty. We talked a little bit about Ferrari, but anything further you wanted to say there about their race weekend ahead? Do you think Lewis makes a jump? Another jump at least?
I think pain. I think sadness.
More of a level reset for them.
No, I just can't get my hopes up. I think that Lewis is incredible. I would love to see him pull an incredible lap out of his ass and do something amazing. I would love to see Charles get a great result at home. Maybe he's broken the curse and now he's unstoppable.
That'd be cool.
Man, I don't want to get my hopes up again. I'm not ready to get hurt again, Derek.
Well, it's going to happen.
I know.
Alrighty. Moving on to Williams, though. Double points finishes in their last 3 races, I believe, with Albon and Sainz there. We said earlier a little bit how Vowles thinks that something big could happen for them here. I don't see why their trend doesn't continue there. Again, they've qualified well. They've been able to keep the strategy up throughout races and keep the cars there. Albon was in a potential podium spot last week, so I don't know why that trend doesn't continue for them because, again, looking behind them at the rest of their competition, there's not really anyone there who is on their level. Like, you'll get the one-off of, a Haas having a really good performance or the Hadjar having a really good performance or Gasly somehow qualifying
I love
P4.
that you said Hadjar. Fuck Lawson.
Yeah. So, like, you might get a one-off, but the consistency of both of their drivers, again, they have such a solid drivers lineup. It's crazy. They have a really, really good drivers lineup, and their car has been really good too.
Yeah, and similar to how Ferrari has been, Carlos has not necessarily even come into his own yet. We haven't seen the best of him in that seat. Obviously, Albon is in another level. He is just absolutely doing incredible. But we haven't seen the best out of Sainz in that car yet. So let's pigeonhole that and say, hey, maybe that's another thing to keep an eye on is what is Carlos going to do and how is his result going to shake out when he finally gets into his comfort zone in that way.
Right. Very much like Lewis with the Ferrari.
Exactly.
Yeah, same thing there. So very excited to look forward to that. And I'm not going to lie, more and more I'm becoming a little bit more of a Williams fan, which I'm enjoying. They're fun. They're fun to root for. They're fun to root for. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to pull a British person claiming everything for the British Museum here. I'm going to claim Williams as an American team because Dortmund Capital owns them.
No, this is an anti-private equity podcast. Sorry. I'm glad that they're doing good things, but this is a very anti-private equity podcast.
I mean, if they weren't there, does
Williams exist?
Is Williams even here?
Probably not, but still fuck them to death. Doesn't matter. Private equity is evil.
America, let's go. Speaking of which, Haas.
Yeah. Good segue before I open my mouth more. I like it. Let's go. Let's move on.
So we got the Frenchman and the Brit, Ocon and Behrman. 12th and 13th?
Maybe.
Maybe.
know.
I don't know. They're on a really bad spell in the last few races, and this just isn't a track that they've historically done well at either.
Yeah.
So I don't expect it to really be much different for them this season here. Yeah, really bad form. Doesn't seem like whatever they had in that early part of this season where they were scoring their points somehow have lost that magic, or just they haven't been at the right tracks. I don't know what the case there is, but this Monaco does not seem like a track for success for Haas at the same time. There's
Yeah.
so much there's so much like the Ferrari because they take as much as they can from them, you know.
Yeah. I thought that was another dig at Ferrari strategy again. That was
No. I would say Io's been
he's been a breath of fresh air.
He's
It's
been a
been
breath of
good.
fresh air, and he's been pretty decent for them. Yeah, with the way that he's kind of
No, I
re-steered the ship there.
I think Haas has definitely had its best season since its first season. I
Mm,
think that they're definitely on some kind of a turnaround.
hmm
What the result of that turnaround is remains to be seen. I don't know because I think we talked about it last week when we talked about Flavio and we talked about the whole clusterfuck at Alpine. What is the result that Haas is going for?
hmm
Are they still trying to be competitive on a budget, or are they trying to be sold to another entity to print money for Gene?
I
Who
think they're
knows?
just trying to get more sponsors on board, and I think like next year you're going to see maybe that more of that Toyota partnership really come through.
You
Maybe
said
they
what I was implying,
right is maybe they're trying to get out of the Ferrari wing and get Toyota to come in for them.
which would be awesome, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, that's the real thing. We'll see what type of a partnership they do want. But again, I what they've been able to do so far with Toyota has seems to have worked for them. I mean, for starters, they just have their own reserve driver this year. Like that's kind of cool. Like, hey,
Not
now you can
insignificant.
you can get a guy to, train a little bit under your wing and help with some of the development stuff behind the scenes and be at your facilities all the time, right? Just another driver on there. You've got more of their engineers coming in to look at the car, right? Like it's just more people and more resources that they've never had before. So you would think that would mean they would be doing well and or better, and so far it has. But again, yeah, they're just on a little bit of a spell right now, and there's still a lot of racing left to be done this season, and I would still say they're leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of those other competitions. Like it's for me, it's McLaren, the next three, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull.
Yeah,
Williams is kind of their own little spot. A little bit further down, you got Haas, and then you got the rest of the four in my mind
yeah.
as to how it's kind of been playing out so far.
And I
But
think
yeah,
that's a fair categorization, and that probably shows up in the results table that you have in front of you that I don't have in front of me.
yeah,
I think that we could talk about the rest of the down race um, order,
mhm.
but honestly, like you're not going to pull anything inspiring from me about Kick Sauber. You
Well,
know?
we can really breeze right over that. We all know what's going on with
Yeah,
Kickstarter this year. They're waiting for Audi next season.
yeah.
That's all they're
And
doing. They're
same with Aston
Bortoleto,
Martin.
get out there, keep driving, learn the track, get as much knowledge as you can. Next year is when we're really going to start evaluating you.
Yeah,
We should talk a little bit more about Aston Martin though, because
yeah,
they were last season supposed to be one of the big boys. They were supposed to be one of the top five. They were supposed to
yeah.
be competing more. When they first became Aston Martin, Stroll went on that, or not Stroll, apologies. Alonso went on that run of podiums. Like they were supposed to become like that next team up to be, hey, we might take out Ferrari, we might take out Mercedes, we might take out McLaren, because at the time those were the three behind Red Bull. Like,
Yeah.
hey, there might be some signs of struggle there. And they have just not lived up to that this year.
Yeah,
So
they're not even close to the fifth place that we had hoped they would be.
yeah.
And I think though that run of podiums that they had in the beginning was mostly Alonso being Alonso.
hmm
And I think we can't dismiss the fact that he was once an alien, even if he is maybe a little bit washed.
hmm
Um, I think they're in a similar holding pattern to how we're in with Sauber, the team that we were just talking about that I couldn't fucking remember the name of. In that they've got Newey coming in next year. He's looking at the 26 regulations and designing their 2026 car. Whoever is going to be behind the wheel of that car is going to be in a better position than whoever is behind the wheel of it now.
Yeah, that's fair. But
then,
I still think if you're an Aston Martin fan, you've got to be a little disappointed by what they're doing this season.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm a fan of the Aston Martin road car brand. Mm-hmm. My life goals we've talked about is to have an Aston Martin or two.
James Bond, baby. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful cars. Some of the most beautiful vehicles ever made. But not the team is still finding their footing, and as much as I love my cousin, Lance Stroll, and as much as I understand why he is where he is, I don't think that team is necessarily going to get the most out of what that team could be while he is occupying one of those seats. Like we were talking about with and Lance Stroll is not a bad driver. Podium finisher Lance Stroll is not a bad driver.
Right.
He did well.
It's just if his dad didn't buy him an F1 team, he wouldn't have a seat at this point in time anymore. You've seen as much as you're going to get out of who Lance Stroll is. And again, it's not like he's bad.
Yeah, and he would be phenomenal in another series. Like throughout his junior career, he was a very good driver, but he also had more experience than anybody else, more opportunity than anybody else, and that's nothing to sneeze at, you know. Right. So if they had,
by all accounts, he's had a relatively long F1 career.
Awesome career. He's
the most experienced Canadian driver.
Yes.
He's gotten a P1. He's gotten on podium. So it's not like he hasn't done anything with his time here.
Yeah.
It's just
time.
You're not going to get anything more. It's You've seen what you can get. That's all.
And the question that they have to be asking themselves is, what is the next step? And if they want to take that next step and be a serious team, they've got to move.
You need that second driver.
Yeah. And that's not to say he couldn't be a reserve driver. That's not to say he couldn't do simulator work or anything like that.
But if you're Lance Stroll, I don't think you're doing that. I think you're moving on to another series where if you want to continue to race where you will be competitive, maybe you do Le Mans. Yeah,
kick ass in the Valkyrie.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. But yeah, with F1, you got what you're going to get now. And if they're fine with that, then whatever. It's their team. It's his son. So I get it. But at the same time, moving on to the Racing Bulls. So I had yet to complete Drive to Survive. So I was actually watching some more of it because I didn't have Netflix for a little while. So
hey, you watched it, man. I didn't. There we go.
I know. But this is getting into the more of the Racing Bull stuff because I just watched the episode where they were trying to figure out what the hell they were going to do with the second Red Bull seat last season between Checo and Lawson and Tsunoda and Ricciardo, like in that cluster. And now how that Christian was on it being all excited about Lawson. And it just made me laughing because I'm like, he had 2 races and then they were like, see ya, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Like, and now you got Hadjar, who might be the best of those 3 for the next set. You know, maybe. If he keeps outperforming Yuki in the Racing Bulls, you got to say that.
The problem is they're in 2 different cars. You know, I think Hadjar is good. I think Hadjar has shown his talent. But I think that Yuki, with his experience and everything, I don't know if he's sticking around. I don't know what's going to happen. I think he's a good driver. I think he deserves to have a seat, and hopefully it's outside of the Red Bull program. And we kind of touched on it last week. They've got somebody coming up in Lindblad who is possibly an alien. That's what the streets are saying. You know, so I don't know what's going to happen, but I think that I think that comparing Yuki, who got switched into the Red Bull mid-season, and the Red Bull is tough to drive,
it wasn't mid-season. It was the third race.
It was not the beginning of the season. It was not an off-season worth of preparation.
Fair.
It was not an off-season worth of preparation with getting to know your new team members. Maybe he had to move because I know he was living in Italy near the AlphaTauri headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many different other variables that have to be considered
Mm-hmm.
that putting and looking at Yuki versus Hajar head-to-head is a little bit of an unfair comparison in my view. That's not to say that we're not going to make it, but I just think that it's a little disingenuous to look at that without looking at it through that whole lens and looking at the whole picture. So while I think Hajar has had a fucking phenomenal and incredibly impressive career so far, it's kind of an apples and oranges situation with one and the other.
Why can't fruit be compared? Shout out LD, baby.
Oh my god. All right. First little Dickie reference in this program. We gotta love it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
This bitch don't know about Pangea.
Brain, leave it alone. But I think if Red Bull were smart, leave the lineup alone for the rest of the season. Don't, for the love of God, don't continue with this. Yeah. What are we doing for a whole nother year? That's not good for anybody. Everybody's just looking around like, am I going to be dropped? Am I going to be replaced? Like, truly, like, then you're not getting the best out of your driver because he's so worried about what the hell he's going to be doing. And shit, is this mistake going to be the one that gets me? Like,
exactly.
Leave it alone. Hey, rest of the year, go.
And I think
you got the rest of the season to prove it.
And I think that's how we have to compare the drivers, is compare them to themselves. Obviously, Lawson has been kind of boat raced by Hajar, but I think that looking at Yuki and his performance through the lens of anything other than how is he improving over the course of the time that he's been in that second Red Bull seat is the only way to do that evaluation. And I pray that he gets a seat at another team. Like, honestly, like, I don't think that the Red Bull environment is good. And I think that is a ship that is slowly sinking.
What about Yuki at Aston Martin?
Because that's a possibility. Because of the Honda ties, even though he's not a Honda affiliated driver anyway. I don't know how that necessarily works in terms of sponsorship. I don't know. He is a Honda affiliated driver. I think that Honda has said that he's not our only guy.
Okay.
That being said, I think it would be a good fit, but somebody's got to move on and somebody's got to move. And if they're putting somebody in that team, and when I say somebody's got to move, it's that second seat, so to speak, right?
I wouldn't be shocked if you see both seats open up at the end of the season.
Really? What makes you say that?
Well, because Alonso's already hinted at, taking on a role like within the front offices, like when his career is done. So it feels like him talking about that a little bit openly might be signaling like, and the way his performances have gone this season, just the way the season has gone, maybe he's like, okay, like it's a whole new set of regulations next season that I've got to learn and figure out. Maybe this is the final go around for him, and he's like, time to move on to that next step where I can help with the cars and everything in a different way that's not me behind the seat. And then maybe Stroll is also just, you know what, I'm moving on to another series. I don't think that's that crazy to think would happen.
I think that Alonso wants a crack at the 26 regulations.
Okay.
I think that he wants to give it a shot. I think he wants to see what the car could be. And I don't think he had worked with Adrian Newey before, which was something that I think he was a little bit excited about the prospect of doing. That being said, like we were talking about a second ago during the Aston Martin segment, I don't think that we can consider them a serious team if Lance is occupying one of the seats, as much as I love my Canadian cousin.
Yeah.
I think that he needs to move to. I think him leading the Valkyrie project in WEC would be phenomenal. I think him doing any other series and driving anything else would be a better fit, and it would help the team progress in terms of being serious competitors and realizing their full potential. The other thing we got to talk about is that big bag of money labeled Max Verstappen. Because I think it's kind of an open secret that they've got a big contract just waiting to be signed whenever Max feels like it.
Yeah.
And obviously I threw out my bold prediction about Max not being the driver's champion and not driving because he's not the champion. I think that's kind of a crazy scenario. But I think that there's a world where, I don't know, Fernando and Max, that's a hell of a combo. I don't know if Fernando's ego could do that if they have that competitive a car. But we'll have to see.
That'd be fun. That would be fun. Moving along to Alpine here. Flavio is as old school as it gets, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because the same thing, I was watching, they had a little bit more of Flavio in one of the later episodes, and I was like, holy shit. Just the way his approach to some of the stuff was with Ocon last season, and then when Doohan came on, he put him in, he's like, you're mine. No bitching, no complaining. And you do exactly as I say. It's like, jeez. And he's just so I don't give a fuck. I'm Flavio. You do, I'm me, and this is how we do things now. It's like, oh shit, okay. It's the complete opposite of an Io and a Vowles. He is just a strict, my way, going on vibes. Screw it.
Yep. A little bit of a bastard.
Yep. A little bit of a bastard. Which maybe he likes Colapinto. Maybe he wants him in there. Maybe he's like, I don't care about doing anymore. Doing bitch too much about the car. I'm getting Colapinto, and he's going for the rest of this.
He definitely wanted Colapinto's money, so.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as old school as it gets, but it's Alpine. They're not going to do dick here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And Kick Sauber.
Not going to do dick or balls. Moving
both. 19th to 20th. Sorry, Sauber, but that's all you get. You were kicked this year.
We covered them.
We did. There we go. We said their name a couple of times, so we can move on.
Probably too many.
Too many times? Well, they do have two drivers, one each.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. All right, let's get into our picks for the weekend. So let's see if our heads are in the same spot here. Winner, who do you think's going to lift the trophy and jump into the pool or the river or the lake or whatever the pool body of water it's going to be?
Get to meet Prince Albert.
Right.
You want to say it at the same time?
Sure. 3,
2, 1.
Max.
Yay!
All right. I like it. Yes. Yeah. A double Max again, going back to back this weekend.
What is our... Do we have a secondary not Max prediction?
I don't. I do feel pretty good about Max. I think again with the new pit strategy stuff, I think that plays into Red Bull.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
I think you saw they did make a little bit of a jump last weekend. They had more speed. McLaren wasn't expecting them to be as fast as they were. Red Bull is very good at making progress throughout a season, and you have Max Verstappen, the alien. He'll find a way. You've just given him positive stuff to go off of. After Japan, it was that was a little bit of a shock. We weren't expecting this kind of a performance here. We'll take it, obviously. And then this Emilia Romagna, there was, hey, we thought we had a decent chance. We had a little bit more pace than expected, but this wasn't a shocking result for us. I think that's something they build off of. You got good strategy to play out with here with the 2 pit stops. They're definitely going to know what they want to do and stick to that plan no matter what. They don't have a second driver realistically to worry about who's going to be at that top position. Obviously, they help you can be further into the points there, but this just screams Max to me for some reason.
Yeah, I'm also feeling it like we talked about because of the pit stops, and how good Red Bull's strategy has been compared to McLaren. I think that they've definitely got to be the favorite. Plus, they've got the 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 guy right now. I would love to see Ferrari do it. I would love to see Lewis get his first real win in red. That would be incredible. But we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But yeah, I'm thinking Max is probably the safe pick here for this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. He is not the betting favorite. It's still Piastri and Norris. They have the same
So,
odds when I last looked.
so we've
But
got to
Max
get
was
some.
third.
We've got to get some bets in on some various programs.
Platforms,
Yeah,
books.
platforms. No free ads.
No free ads, but if you want to sponsor us, we'll start using it. Maybe we're already using it. You don't know.
Yep, because we don't talk about it because you don't pay us. So give us our $20.
one free bet, please, and we'll
hopefully a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
how advertisements work or whatever, but
Hopefully you get a little bit more money than just $20. But hey, the first one's always, a good memory. Our
maybe for
winning
you.
margin, under 5 seconds, between 5 and 10, or over 10 seconds. What do you think?
I'd say under 5 seconds because of the tightness of the track, how crazy the circuit is. Hopefully it's under 5 seconds.
I am right there with you again. So this is either good because I've now been aligned with your thinking and you've been better at picking, or this is really bad for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, fuck, I should change up my predictions here.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, again, 2 pit stops should keep them tighter, closer together, and it's Monaco. Like it's generally closer racing overall.
Yeah, how big of a lead can you build up?
Right, exactly. So I like under 5 there as well. Our classified finishers, the line is once again set at 18.5 for the weekend. Over under, what are you thinking?
See, I always forget about this one, and then you ask me, I'm like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go under, just because that's one mechanical, one wreck. That's not an insignificant probability of that, but we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm thinking under is probably the safe pick here.
Well, it's an announcer's curse because I've also got under.
Damn it. I was worried that you would say that as I was guessing.
Yeah, because I mean it's only two cars that would have to get out, and
Yeah.
again it's Monaco, it's tight. You got a lot of rookies. I mean, truly anything can happen. Last year it was Kevin, Nico, and Checo, like 3 veterans of the sport who lap 1, boom, gone just like that. So like truly anything can happen. The weather looks like it should be good. Overcast, no rain in the weekend forecast though, so it's not like we're really going to have to worry about that. Was that last year too when they had a lot of that rain, or was that the year before? I think it was the year before when
the year before.
That one was crazy. It was like, what do you do? Stay out, go to slicks. Oh my God, one's on slicks, one's not. That race was wild. That was so much fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, this is a first for us because we are truly in alignment in our picks and prediction here. So it's gonna be a really big success or a really big failure, I'd say.
Yeah, we're not getting anything right, dude.
The way I've been picking, I would say this is bad news for you. So maybe you fade us.
I don't know. Hopefully, I think backup winner got to be Oscar. I think he's got that mentality. I also want to give him a special shout out.
Oscar.
I don't know. Yes, I don't know if you follow any of the drivers on social media. But there have been a lot of examples.
Our official accounts do.
Oh, I didn't know we had official accounts. Good for us.
Yes, we are backmarkerspod_ on all platforms.
All platforms.
Well, we don't have a Facebook because fuck Facebook. I just don't use it.
Facebook.
Who uses Facebook anymore? So yeah, we're on Instagram, X, TikTok, and we just started our YouTube page. You can just find us as Backmarkers on YouTube, though.
It's still called Twitter.
X,
anyway,
the Everything app. Everything happens on it.
Anyway, I want to give him a special shout out because he seems like just a really genuinely good person. There was one thing that he had posted on one of his stories about him doing something. I think it was for charity. I can't remember what it was, but I remember seeing it and going, "Oh, hey, good on him. He looks like a good dude." He had a fan who is a young child in a wheelchair. And she dressed up her wheelchair as a McLaren F1 car.
Oh, that's cool.
And Oscar saw it and sent her a care package, and it was a cute little note on social media that I think deserves a shout out and deserves. We see these incredibly talented athletes. We see them with their helmets on, but once they take their helmets off, they are still people at the end of the day. And I think Oscar has shown that he's pretty good people. And that's not to say that not everybody else is like this.
Sure.
But seeing that in particular was something that I found very touching and something that he has done in the past. And I just wanted to give him a quick shout out, give him a little bit of his flowers. So
a big original listener from the beginning, Oscar Piastri. Yeah, he's been
friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Yeah, no, that's awesome to see though. And yeah, I mean, you don't know a lot about these guys personally, so when you do see stuff like that and some of those interactions that, could make someone's life memory and something like that, like that's always fun to see. And I would agree, just from the little background you do see from either the Drive to Survive or social media stuff, he does seem like a genuinely good person at least. And sure, he's got the competitive flair that you want on the track and out of your driver who wants to be the number one driver, but that doesn't take away from like who they are as people either off the track. And if you're an F1 team and that's what you want out of your driver anyways, you want the guy to be like, I ain't moving aside. I want to win. So yeah.
We love
good
it.
for Oscar. He's a good Aussie.
Yeah.
He's a good cunt.
I was gonna say it's cultural appropriation if you say that word. But there we go.
Whatever. Here
we'll
are.
See.
So yeah, this should be fun to look forward to. Monaco is always great, but as we mentioned, it is the greatest weekend in motorsports. You've got the crown jewel of F1. You've got the greatest spectacle in racing this weekend as well, outside of the Wienie 500. And I did do a little bit of research for you. I do have some picks for you for the 500 and then the Coca-Cola 600 as well. So,
there we go.
Would you like to get into those?
Let's absolutely get into those. I have my pick for the 500.
You
do? I do. Yes,
okay.
I do. I'll let you have the floor because you're a little more prepared.
We talked a little bit about the 500. I didn't do a ton of research. Joseph Newgarden is your back-to-back Indy 500 champion. I was at that race last year, and I sat in the corner where he made the pass on the final lap to take the lead and then win again. It was awesome. I've got this great video of it happening, too. There's this dude standing in front of me by like 3 rows or so, shirt off, just
hell yeah, brother.
It's the most animated drunk guy you've ever seen, going crazy as the pass is happening. So that was really fun. So yeah, I think he's starting 11th this season or for this race. I know we talked about Schwartzman being the rookie, getting the pole position there, but so far it has been Alex Palou's season. He's won 4 out of 5. He's been pretty dominant. He finished top 5 in the one race he didn't win. I still think it's an Alex Palou show. I'm going to go with him to win the 500 this year for Chip Ganassi.
All right, there we go. I have got to pick Takuma Sato.
Takuma Sato. I like it.
Another guy who had a brief Formula One career. Another guy who is a previous Indy 500 winner. And all around top dude with RLL. Let's go.
Yeah. Honestly, that's one of the fun parts about Indy. You do get a lot of old F1 guys coming into the series. Marcus Ericsson's still very much on the track.
Also a winner.
Yes. I believe he won the whole thing as well one of those seasons, or he was close to it at least.
I don't think he is an IndyCar champion, but I know he won the Indy 500.
Yeah.
Alex
that year
Rossi,
he had a very good season. No, I was just going to say that year he had a very good season. He won a couple of times that year.
Yeah. But winning the Indy 500 just kind of
Oh,
Like,
it's one of the
yeah,
three. It's one of the three
yeah,
for the Triple Crown. Yeah.
yeah. Alex Rossi, shout out to Manor Marusha.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out him. I hope that's who he drove for, but I know he is also a Formula One talent. Um,
While
and
Pablo
then
Montoya was out.
love him.
He
There we
did
go.
NASCAR too.
Which awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he really. It's a shame
And
that
he was a
he
winner
didn't
there.
have.
He's an amazing
He's a
driver.
damn good
He just
driver.
won
Yeah,
everywhere he went. It was awesome.
except F1.
Well,
Wait, did he win an
I thought
F1?
he got a win. I don't know that he didn't win. He didn't win
Yeah.
a championship in any of those levels, but
No,
I'm
he
pretty
didn't win
sure
a
he was an
championship. Now I gotta Google it.
F1 winner. Juan Pablo Montoya.
You're quicker on the Google fingers than I am.
Yeah. He's one of only 3 drivers to win races in all 3 series, and one of 2 active drivers to win 2 legs of the Triple Crown of Motorsport.
Good for him.
Wait,
Which one? Which one has he not won?
Montoya won 7 Formula One Grand Prix across 6 seasons.
He didn't win Monaco, did he?
That's what I was trying to figure out. That's right. He's a 2-time winner of Indy 500, 3-time winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona. Wait,
Yeah.
why not Le Mans? Is he a Monaco winner? We must find out.
Stick him in a freaking Toyota. Just
Yeah,
get the
right.
Triple Crown. Sorry, Fernando. I don't know. Just because you're on the Google here,
Mhm.
when we talk about Juan Pablo Montoya, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the bit of radio where he comes over and he goes, "Fucking Raikkonen!"
I
Oh,
don't
and
know
like
that one.
that is just permanently burned into my brain. That reaction to whatever Kimmy did.
Wow, I don't remember that. I don't know even a little bit of what you're referring to be
I
quite
I
honest.
don't remember the context either. It's just
He
some of the
won
greatest
Monaco,
radio of all time.
so he
Stick
doesn't
him in
have
a
the
Le Mans
24
car.
hours. Yeah. What are we doing?
What are we doing? There we go. So we have our predictions in. You picked
I picked Alex Palou and you picked
Low,
sorry,
Takuma Sato.
Takuma Sato. That's right.
Yep. And now Coca-Cola 600. Who you got?
Um, I have not followed NASCAR a bunch this year, to be quite honest. I watched the Daytona 500 and that was about it. Um, I So my original roots in racing and being a fan of racing started in NASCAR. I was a
Mhm.
Jeff Gordon guy through and through. Um, and then once he retired, I just already generally liked Hendrick Motorsports already. So the heir apparent after Gordon was Chase Elliott. He was the first one to step into the 24. So my fandom very much transferred over to him. I'm just going to stick with Chase Elliott to win the Coca-Cola 600 this year. No idea how he's doing. He drives the 9 car now, like his dad did, and
Well, okay.
he's still very much a good driver. I just don't know how his year has gone, but I'm still just going to go with him because that's who I root for.
There we go. There we go. I know fuck all about NASCAR. Who are like 3 other drivers that are currently on the grid?
Well, I mean, Kyle Larson is one of the big names out there at the moment. He's
Mhm.
doing the 1100 like we talked about, so he is
Yeah.
racing the 500 first. And last year he did have a really good shot of actually winning the race.
Mhm.
He had a late penalty for speeding on pit road that
I think I remember
completely
that.
it ruined his race. So he finished in like 20th or something like that. But prior to he was like top 5 and pushing. So he's very much one of the best in the world, honestly, at the moment in terms of just racecraft and skill. And it's an oval, which is what he's used to, and that NASCAR races at Indy as well. So um, there's a good chance he could win the Coca-Cola 600, but that's just a long ass day of racing. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he can make that all happen, but that'd be cool to see him win one of them, let alone
Yeah.
just completing that would be awesome. But other names, I mean, you still got Denny Hamlin floating around there. Um, Joey Logano is the defending champion. The other Hendrick cars are Alex Bowman and shoot, what's his name? Why can't I think of it? William Byron. He took over the 24 car. He's been having a good. He was good last season. I would imagine he's doing all right this season too. Then let's see, you got Brad Keselowski still kicking out there. Bubba Wallace is on the Jordan team, Michael Jordan team. Then you got
That's who else could we pick other than Michael Jordan's team? All
they're
right.
they're okay. Their second driver's actually been a little bit better. Tyler Reddick from my
Let's go with
last
him then.
time I
There we
looked
go.
at it.
Actually, who was
Who's
the
the
other
other guy
guy
I'm
that you
trying to think of?
said?
Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney. Is he the defending champion? No, he's not the defending champion, but he has one recently.
Who was the guy that did the video game pass? What was his name?
Oh, that the watermelon guy. Ah, shoot, what's his name?
Let's go with
Moose.
him.
Moose is the spot. Ross Chastain. Ross
Chastain.
Chastain.
That's who
Yeah.
I'm picking. He did the
You're
video
picking
game thing. That was
Chastain?
cool as fuck. That was one of the
That-
greatest videos I've ever seen.
That was sick. That took over the internet. Riding the wall at Martinsville with the paperclip.
Hell yeah. There
Yeah.
we go. So those are our picks. I'm gonna try and watch all of it. I know that you're obviously going to the Indy 500, which
Yep.
is glorious.
Back to
I
back
know
years.
you'll be
I'm so excited.
I know you'll be watching. Did you know? And this is fucking crazy. 1 in every 1,100 people in the United States will be there.
1 in every 1,100. I did not know that's how it broke down, but yeah, I know the grandstands are sold out. It'll be a full 350 in attendance.
Insane to think about. Like just a colossal number of people.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
Dude, it is crazy how big that track is. I mean, it's 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
But like you walk up to it and you go, holy crap. And then you look to the right and you go, holy crap. And then you look to the left and you go, holy crap, this thing's huge. It's honestly insane. I gotta share a quick story from last year. So last year, that's my bachelor party was doing the 500. I wanted to do that. So my buddies and I, we go out and my cousins are with me, my friends are with me. There's like 9 of us at this thing. So we're walking up to it, and one of the best things about the 500 is you can bring almost anything you want to in the stadium. Specifically, like you can bring all the food and drinks that you want in. So we had coolers of beer, cooler of sandwiches, and then we were like, let's go sit down and have a time. Also, their bleachers had a seat back.
Oh, nice.
So it wasn't just
That's
a piece
amazing.
of metal. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you could actually like sit there. It's like, damn, this is nice. So anyways, so we get there. We're trying to find our seats, and where we walked into was kind of by the main grandstand. And then we had to walk to the, I believe it was the northeast corner of the stadium.
Mhm.
We had to look for like section S or something. I don't know, some random letter. So we start going, excuse me. So we start going, and then all of a sudden, my cousins are just like taking off. They're very fast walkers. They do the bridge walk every single year on Labor Day. And it's like all of a sudden they're just gone. And we're like, how are they moving so fast? Like they're not in the race. How are they already gone, basically? So we're like, all right, let's go catch up to them because we were taking our dandy old time with potty breaks and looking at shit. And it's like, we gotta get going to our seats anyways. So we're like, all right, we gotta go catch up to them. So we go over, we get to our seats, and I'm looking around. I'm like, where are they? Like, I don't see them. Like, maybe they're at the seats already. I'm like, they don't have the tickets. I don't know. Maybe whatever. We'll see how it goes. So we get up. I'm looking over at our seats. I'm like, they're not here. I'm like, what's going on? So I call them. I'm like, where are you guys? They're like, we're over at S. I'm like, I'm at S. Where are you at? S is a section, but they also have like signs for it to go to the south end of the stadium. So, but where we walked in from was kind of right in the middle, and then we had to go to the northeast side of the stadium, and that was alone probably a mile to get over to that point. I would guess. I don't know where they ended up. They did 3/4 of a lap by the time we did almost a quarter or to a third of it. Yeah. They were moving. They were moving out there. We're like, holy shit, you guys were booking it over there. But then the worst part happened was they had one of the coolers of beer. So we were like, you guys need to get your asses over here.
No, not the beer.
Shout out them because of the speed walk-in. They made it before the race even started. They made it back. It was so funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have an amazing time, dude. I can't wait to hear all about it. we're our debrief is also going to have to be a lot of stories, and hopefully you get some good ones and get some good racing out of it too.
Yeah.
I'm colossally disappointed that you're not going to be there for the Wienie 500. I saw that and I was like, oh my God, Derek is going to be there. And then you told me it was Friday. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Damn. So
I'll try to watch a little bit today as you're listening, but yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Will be fun. Well, hey, enjoy the greatest weekend of racing. Hopefully you can watch all three of them like Ben's going to attempt here. That alone is a feat of strength, in my opinion. To be able to sit on the couch,
I don't know.
starting at 9 a.m. and going until, I don't know, 11 p.m. just to watch cars going around tracks. It's a pretty impressive day.
Yeah, no, I don't know how it's going to shake out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish it. But it will be a less impressive feat than anybody else over the holiday weekend. So, yeah.
But it's commitment. We appreciate that.
Or maybe should be committed. That's
it's another way to take it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see y'all after the race.
Awesome. Have a great weekend, folks. Enjoy the racing.